Husker football fans have waited an entire winter for this springtime afternoon. From all over the state, they arrived for the annual red-white game, a sure sign that fall and Nebraska football is just around the corner. Welcome to Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, Nebraska. 70,000 spring game tickets already sold on a terrific spring afternoon for a Nebraska annual scrimmage. It's the annual spring right here in Lincoln. It's the red versus the white. And hello again, everyone. I'm Larry Putney, along with former Husker standout and current Detroit Lion running back Amir Abdullah. Good to have you with us this afternoon. Amir, there's always excitement come spring in Nebraska. So many decisions to be made, but especially this year, the quarterback battle has been so intense. You like Tanner Lee. What do you like about Tanner?
What I like about Tanner is he has a lot of snap off the ball, very accurate, and he seems to take charge of the offense, so I'm looking to see him do that today.
Should be a terrific afternoon here in Lincoln for the spring game. Let's go down to the field. Damon Benning, the third member of our broadcast crew, he's with the coach.
Coach, you fancy yourself as a lifelong learner. What's your third spring here in Lincoln taught you?
Oh, this has been an awesome spring. You know, we had to do so much stuff. We put in a new defense. We've got new quarterbacking going on. I'm just learning more about our team. I think the more a coach can find out about the players, the better opportunity we have to put them in the right position to make plays.
You're in an unusually good mood for a guy that's replacing the quarterback and putting in a new defense. I gather you like where you're headed.
I'm going on record. I love this team. The energy for this spring has been awesome. The work has been really, really good. We got growth to do. I don't know where we're going to be yet when we get to August, but this part of it, I've just loved the whole look that I've seen from this group.
All right, Coach, best wishes.
It is a football Saturday in Lincoln, Nebraska. Red versus white coming up on BTN. Well, the tunnel walk has begun here for the red-white scrimmage in Lincoln, Nebraska. Red versus white getting ready to show their stuff and earn some positions here on this terrific Saturday afternoon in Lincoln. Amir, as a kid in his first year out of Alabama, late recruit, you remember this moment the first time you walked out of the tunnel here at Memorial Stadium?
It was truly amazing to see all the red, all chanting Husker power, chanting your name, screaming, Amir, screaming, let's go Huskers. Man, that was great for me. Every time I come back, I still get chills. You see the guys running out now, man. These guys are having a time of their lives, man. Definitely a time that I will always remember.
Just imagine those first-year recruits, maybe even some of those who came in early going through the tunnel walk for the first time. And what a crowd on hand here today at Memorial Stadium. Just a terrific afternoon. There's a guy we're going to be keeping a close look at all day, Tanner Lee. This should be a good one today. Tanner, Patrick O'Brien, the two individuals battling for the starting quarterback spot. And it's been a battle throughout the spring. Coach Riley has gone on record saying he's given each an opportunity, an equal opportunity to start the scrimmage and start practices with the ones and rotated them equally throughout. You got a sense yesterday, Amir, in the conversations that we had with the coaches that maybe there was an edge. There was a favorite one way or another while they weren't willing to say it. I think we get a sense of that here today as we take a look at what's been a terrific quarterback battle. Of course, the other thing we're going to watch today is the implementation of Bob Diaco's new offense, the new defense, Nebraska's defensive coordinator. Bob Diaco, who's known for installing the 3-4. Unfortunately, we won't see a lot of 3-4 today.
Yep.
But we'll get an opportunity to see some of that new defense of Bob Diaco as well as the quarterbacks. We're getting ready for the coin flip here at Memorial Stadium. Let's go to our public address announcer with the coin flip.
That's the seats. These are our fans, you know.
I know you sacrifice a lot. Just like it's getting harder and harder. We are really, really proud of you here. This is especially very important. Have you been in the middle of this stadium before? No? We're gonna have a coin toss now. You guys ready? Ready to go? Ron, there we go. We got a guy flipping coins.
white team, we're going to make the visitor here. So number 14 is going to play the toss. You repeat his call, okay? This will be the head. Big Ten logo will be the tail. Here you go, buddy. I want you to flip the coin. What's your call?
Tails.
He's called tails. Give it a toss. It's a hand. Red team's won the toss. They're going to receive.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome home Matthew Hawk.
Well, a great moment there as Staff Sergeant Matthew Hawk, back from deployment, first time he's seeing his family since his return. They did not know he was going to be in uniform, and you saw the look from his young son as he flipped the coin, looking up to his father, the Staff Sergeant. What a great moment here at the Nebraska spring game. We've had a few of those over the years, right, Amir?
Definitely a great moment. And I know his family is happy to see him in a very special moment.
Hey, Dad's wearing a Husker uniform, too. That's even more cool, right?
He looks good. He looks good.
Well, we've got terrific weather here at Memorial Stadium for the game this afternoon. You see just a slight breeze here. But, boy, rain forecasted for later today, and there is Staff Sergeant Matthew Hawk waving to the crowd. Rain forecast for later today. We believe it'll stay away throughout the next 2.5 hours of this annual spring game.
All right, guys. Come on, guys. I'll bring you guys up. Come on. Over here.
I'm not even sure who won the toss there. Did you pick that up?
The red team. They will receive.
See, that's a former football player.
You know, I always want to get the ball first. I always wanted to. I never liked it when we got the ball, you know, deferred to the second half. I would like to get out and set the tempo, but, you know, beggars can't be choosers.
You returned a few kicks in your day.
Back in the glory days.
So the rules for today, the way they've split the two teams, is they essentially have gone ones versus two. The ones will be on the red, the twos will be on the white. They are going to simulate a real game for at least the first half. 15-minute quarters. Second half, the clock will run, no kicks and punts. Let's go down to the field with Damon Benning.
Guys, one of those rare occasions where on the moment things are put into perspective. The consummate things that Nebraska stands for, a family man returning home to his family. Mr. Hawk, what does it mean for you? I mean, it gave us goosebumps.
This is everything, and just can't thank the university enough and bringing me here. My family, I miss them. I've been gone for 10 months. This is unbelievable. Once in a lifetime for me.
You know, we say, and this is a personal note, there is no place like Nebraska. You embody everything that we represent here in the state. Congratulations, and we appreciate what you do for our country.
Thank you.
Guys, this is a lot of what it's all about. Bigger than we are.
No doubt about that. So there will be no returns, but they will simulate kickoffs, and we're doing that right now as a line drive kick down into the end zone, a kind of a squib kick to start things off. So it was that initial kickoff, and now that red offense will take the field. Boy, look at the crowd here today. 70,000 tickets pre-sold for this game at our State Farm State of Success. The attendance, this crowd here at Memorial Stadium, the last 12 games, and this is spring attendance, folks, 810,000, an average of 67 per game in 2016. Last year, 72,000 plus. We expect to be very close to that here today. This for an annual scrimmage. Certainly one of the most well-attended scrimmages in the spring across the college football landscape. So here comes the red trotting out, and it will be Patrick O'Brien at the quarterback for Nebraska. And again, in a very even and fair way, the coach is giving everyone an opportunity. And this is probably Patrick's turn. He's a 6'4", 230-pound freshman from San Juan Capistrano, California. And they'll give it to the backfield. Good carry there by Trey Bryant. Bryant has won the starting job here early in the spring. Trey, a 205-pounder out of St. Louis, Missouri. In his sophomore year, really versatile. Nice job of pass pro for Trey Bryant. What do you like about Bryant? You've been able to watch him over the last couple of years.
Yeah, I really like his feet. He has really good feet. He has really good vision and really good balance. Those are 3 good things that you look for in a back. And to have those at a very young age right now, still growing in position, that's a good foresight for him.
Patrick O'Brien under center, gives to Bryant again.
See what I mean?
Wide hole in the middle there.
Real quick feet.
Terrific feet. Nice job breaking tackles. Another gain of 17 yards for Trey Bryant in a backfield, Amir, that looks very talented. I know there's another guy back there you're very fond of. And Mikhail Wilbon, who we'll see later today. Divina Zigbo.
Definitely.
Kind of the 3-headed monster right now for Nebraska at the tailback or I-back spot for the Huskers.
Definitely.
You get a sense that the coaches kind of want to focus in on a single running back there.
Well, you know, what Divine brings, he probably has the most experience out of the guys. What he brings right now, I could probably say, was vocal leadership to the group. Mikhail Wilbon's a guy who I'm really just trying to see him emerge a little bit more. It took him a couple years to get his feet wet to find the right niche for him, but I feel like he's coming to his own from what I've heard from Coach Langsdorff this spring. So I'm excited to see what Mikhail can bring, but, you know, this Trey Bryant kid, I really feel like he has the reins on this position heading into the season.
Well, speaking of running backs, I have one to my right. There's one down in the field, Damon Benning, who's with maybe one of the greatest running backs of all time.
Yeah, if not the greatest. He belongs in discussion, and it's very small letters, 1 and 1A. The great former Heisman Trophy winner, Mike Rozier. You light up the sidelines. It's always the $1 million smile, man. How good does it feel to be back?
It feels great to come back. I mean, it's like my second home. Even though I'm from New Jersey, I love Nebraska. I was come back 5 times, at least 5 times a year. I was here for Johnny Jet's award last night, but it's great to be back home.
Yeah, always so good-natured. The fans embrace you. What was that relationship like between you and the fan bases? They've adored you since day one.
When I first got here and I walked on this field and I saw all red, I was shocked. But ever since then, Nebraska fans goes everywhere when Nebraska's there. So I'm proud to be in Nebraska. I had a great time. If I had to do it all over again, I'd come back again.
He's one of the best in the business, if not the best. Former Heisman Trophy winner, former Husker, Mike Rozier.
All right.
Got that right. The best.
Date myself a little bit here, but when he was a freshman, I was on campus. Here's the pass from O'Brien into the end zone looking for Pearsonell just over the head, but it was a freshman his senior year here. That was just one of the most wicked stiff arms that he had in college football. Rushed for, a record at the time, 2,000-plus yards did Mike Rozier. Part of the triplets, of course, along with Turner Gill and Irving Fryer, Mike Rozier. A team in 1983 that everyone thought was the best in the nation.
Definitely. Nebraska has a very rich running back tradition. So to come behind someone like Mike Rozier, the Amon Greens of the world, man, I'm just honored to be in the same conversation. And Damon said it right, the best.
It's going to bring a 4th down here for this Red squad, which had a nice drive going off of the legs of Trey Bryant. You saw the screen pass there to Bryant. And now in for a 35-yard field goal attempt is Drew Brown. Drew Brown's had a terrific career, following up in his brother's footsteps. 5'11", 195 junior out of South Lake, and as we've seen so many times before, Drew Brown knocks it through and puts the red on the board. So a good opening drive for Patrick O'Brien as he navigates the field and knocks through the field goal, and the red on top now. 3-zip here in the Nebraska spring game. What you like to see early on in a spring game? Control the line of scrimmage, move the ball, primarily on the ground.
Definitely. Taking care of the football is probably the most important thing in the spring game. Just improving in those areas are the areas that are going to help you get more wins in the season time. So I know a lot of these coaches, offensively speaking, want to see the offense to take care of the football, as well as the defensive coaches controlling the line of scrimmage.
And just as we see in the fall, the Balloons released on the first score for the Huskers. Good to have you with us here in Lincoln, Nebraska, as the white now will get set to be led by another young quarterback for the Huskers. You see him there, number 14, Tristan Gebbia.
He's kind of a wild card for me. I don't know much about him. I've been removed from the program for a little bit, but I hear he has a lot of moxie about him. He's a natural-born leader, of what I've heard from Coach Langsdorf. So I'm excited to see him lead this team down the field for this drive.
I think the comment we heard yesterday from a lot of players as well as the coaches is he just competes.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Maybe he has some growing to do. He's expected to redshirt next year, so he's playing on this white team. But Jebbia, the 4-star recruit out of Calabasas, California. We've heard so much about Calabrasca.
I really like this guy, Austin Rose. Very hard runner, very hard worker. Local kid, so, you know, he has a lot of pride in this university and what it means to play running back here.
Good carry there by Austin Rose on first down. We'll bring up second and about 1. Jebbia, the comment, just a very cool customer back in the pocket. Led them on a 2-minute drill during a scrimmage against the number 1s last Saturday. Very poised, led them down to the field into the end zone. There's Rose again. You see that red squad coming out in kind of a 4-2-5 look, and we've heard so much about the 3-4 defense of Bob Diaco and expected to see that in the fall, but he made it very clear you're not going to see any 3-4 today. It's going to be primarily be very vanilla. There's a look at Bob Diaco, the new defensive coordinator for the Huskers.
Definitely. And speaking to Diaco yesterday, you can definitely tell he's very meticulous with his work ethic, and he's definitely shedding that same standard down to the guys. You can see they're all getting around the ball. Well, good move right there. Getting down, making a lot of gang tackles. So very meticulous coach.
Nice feed by Rose. Picks up another first down against this number 1 red defense. There is the new defensive coordinator, Bob Diaco. Let's go down to the field. More on Bob Diaco. Here's Damon Benning.
Yeah, I was listening to Amir talk about Austin Rose as a local talent. He's dealt these guys fits all spring. He's getting a lot of playing time for some other teams in the Big Ten. So even though this is the first team defense, they're seeing a really, really good back in Austin Rose. Don't be surprised if they crank a few out here on the ground.
Brings up first down. Rolling to his left is Jebbia. He'll pull it down himself and gain 4 or 5. Another thing the coaches like about him, I think, what did Coach say about him? He said he walked in and you'll see Jebbia sitting there. He says, well, just don't forget to turn the lights out, right?
He's definitely a gym rat. I hear he's a gym rat, man. That's something that you want in a quarterback, especially a young quarterback who loves football, who loves to compete, loves to, to work and learn. That's a good sign, very good sign.
Yeah, Jebbia, he's the guy that he wants all of those huddle clips, right? He wants to get the film room, the study, has a question every practice, constantly peppering Coach Langsdorf with questions. And gym rat's a great way to put it. Again, likely will redshirt next year. Flag on the play, too much time.
5-yard penalty.
Game.
Second down.
Up 5 yards, bring up second and long now.
I'm interested to see this front 7 from Nebraska.
Yep.
Over the couple years, they've lost some very good pass rushers. Some guys who, Malik Collins, Randy Gregory to the NFL draft. So I want to really see someone step up and take that next role of the dominant pass rusher, the guy who they can count on third down.
Passing down here, Jebbia, the quick release. In and out of the hands, but a nice throw on target by Jebbia. Incomplete to David Engelhop, the freshman.
Seems to have some good zip on his ball. Really steps into it, drives it really well. So I'm excited about Jebbia, man.
Coaches say he's had a remarkable start for a true freshman. This is a quarterback room that Coach Langsdorf talks about. It says he probably hasn't had this good of a group in terms of effort, study, dedication in his quarterback room to date. Nice toss by Jebbia out into the flat. Maybe had an opportunity to hit the sideline there, but was upfield on the completion to Wyatt Mazur.
That's a senior they're going to be counting on a lot this year. Chris Jones. He's a guy, he's been proven. He's a guy who he has a bright future, in my opinion, in the NFL.
Starting to kick it away is Caleb Lightbourne. Lightbourne, of course, forced into starting role last year. after the death of punter Sam Foltz. Last year he averaged 39.7 per punt. Great job as he puts that one into the end zone on a 53-yard punt by Caleb Lightmore. So along with Amir Abdullah, I'm Larry Putney. Good to have you with us here in the annual red-white scrimmage. Amir, you've seen already 2 of the 3 quarterbacks. We're going to get a look at Tanner Lee here momentarily. What have you liked so far about the 2 competing for that number 2 spot?
Well, so far, Patrick O'Brien, he didn't have many opportunities that last drive. They really leaned on Trey Bryant. He did a really good job. But he really seems like he understands the offense. You know, he's trying to hit the seam. I saw he tried to hit a flare in the red zone there. So I'm liking what I'm saying. He's not scared to let it rip.
Let's take a look at some old highlights here. Maybe they're not that old, right? They're older.
Come on now.
Here's the number 2 running back in Nebraska history.
Oh, man.
Abdullah.
That's the glory days right here.
Yeah. Now here's my favorite one coming up from there. That's in there for them. What about this one?
Oh, man. I think that was a fun day. That was a really fun day because it was one of the last home games that year. Senior year, man, the guys had a really good time that game, man. That was really fun.
Second all-time leading rusher in Nebraska history, and just a fantastic senior year. Pulled out a couple of. Wait, how about McNeese State?
Oh, man. See, everyone else enjoys that game. That was one of the most stressful days of my life, man. McNeese State came in here, and they were giving us a run for our money, and we almost dropped that one. So we definitely made our minds up at that point of the season where we got to take our preparation a lot more seriously.
I think you said at the time you got that ball and you knew you had to score.
Oh, I had to. It was that time or no time at all.
There's a good look at Bob Diaco. We heard a lot about his emotional presence, his excitement, level of intensity with this Nebraska defense. So now we get a look at Tanner Lee in there at quarterback, and another handoff from Lee.
Now we see
your guy.
Kill Wilbon in there.
Wilbon, yep. Maybe the most improved guy of the spring, according to the coaches. Really had tried to stick with it. Trey Bryant likely had the early lead, but the job that Mikhail Wilbon has done here in the last couple of weeks. This is, my favorite 2 colleagues that I've worked with, Amir Abdullah, Damon Benning, both like this guy a lot.
Yeah, I like him a lot. Tough runner. He's a guy really good in open space, so he's a guy, I can say, comparably speaking, we have a lot of similar traits, so hopefully he can continue to improve in those areas.
Yeah, you see the zip on the ball and completion. Dave, let's go on the field, Damon Benning.
Yeah, you guys talking about Mikhail Wilbon. I know folks at home probably think just because it's the 21 in red, but it's also the 21 in blue up there next to you, Larry. He's becoming a complete back. He's had a really good spring. He's been diligent with his craft. And the big thing for him is, like a lot of these young pups on offense trying to crack the depth chart, minimize the mistakes, maximize the explosive plays, and he's given himself a chance. He won't disappoint today, I can guarantee you that.
Look at that. Great feet in the hole by Wilbon, and I get the 21 up here in light blue and silver. Was there another 21 that we were missing, Amir? That you might have been talking about? Must have been Wilbon.
Oh, yeah, it was Wilbon.
Yeah,
it was Wilbon earlier.
Damon wishes his mic was open right now.
Wasn't talking about him. Not this time. Not this time.
Well, look at that nifty move by Mikhail Wilbon. We kind of saw these flashes a couple of years ago early in his career, and I think it's maybe some of the mistakes, the lack of consistency that might have kept him out. Here's a quicker out to DeMornay Pearson. Stays on his feet.
That's the guy they have to get the ball in his hands. Get the ball in his hands quick and just let him work. He's a guy very explosive when he gets the ball. You've seen him early in his career, very effective in the punt return game. So they need to get him the ball quick and early in the game, get him going to be a successful offense, in my opinion.
A couple of players, I believe, Stanley Morgan Jr., DeMornay Pearson-El, they're going to have to find ways this year to get those 2 receivers the ball in as many different ways as they can into the hands of those 2.
Definitely.
Look at the 15 on the last play. Play action for Lee, looks downfield and then checks down along the near sideline. Incomplete.
That's a good sign for him. He had a lot of time to throw that ball.
Yeah. Connor Young, the intended receiver. Good pass pro there. Second down now for Tanner Lee. current front runner because of the consistency that he's shown throughout this spring camp. Delay give to Divine Azigbo, who is now in there at running back. Azigbo, 6 foot, 230-pound junior out of Texas.
Big guy, big guy. He has to continue to fall forward with some of his runs. He's a guy who he has an extremely gifted physique. He's a guy who can run hard. He has good speed as well, but he has to really use his body to his advantage on the football field.
So Zigbo's still in there at the tailback spot along with Tanner Lee. Across the middle, in stride to his tight end. Championship start in the spring. Our guys deliver the latest on position battles, interviews, and a breakdown of the on-field action. The Big Ten Spring Football Report tonight, 9:30 Eastern on BTN and on BTN To Go. A terrific crowd here at Memorial Stadium, and a great throw and completion there to Tyler Hoppus. Hoppus, the former walk-on out of Lincoln. He's done a nice job here earning that top tight end spot, and a spot that Nebraska's very thin as you look at his Zigbo. But Nebraska losing 3 tight ends, all fifth-year seniors from last year with, roughly 20 starts between them. That's a position that Nebraska needs to shore up, and Tyler Hoppus has done a nice job here in the spring.
It is definitely important, especially for the play-action game. I know Langsdorff said he wants to really implement that more this year. Need a solid tight end to go across the middle and make those sacrifices.
There's a look at Tyler Hoppus. Southwest High School in Lincoln in his senior year. Lee again checks down. Well, you could see him
definitely go through
moving right down the progressions. Boom very quickly too. There's Keon Williams with the reception. Keon in the battle for that third wide receiver spot, along with a few others. J.D. Spielman, who we've seen a couple of times. Brian Reimers certainly in the conversation. Keon Williams. Let's go down to the field to Damon.
Yeah, it's interesting you talk about Keon Williams. We talked about him in the meetings yesterday, and I asked those guys, how was he holding off J.D. Spielman, who was a young phenom in his own right? And you guys remember Coach Langsdorff said, they're both coming. Be patient. You'll see flashes of both. And then the other thing I think you guys can appreciate, especially those watching at home, they talked a lot about it yesterday, the gap or the counter game for Nebraska's run game, going to kind of take the place of the outside zone because everybody's wondering what's going to happen without the quarterback run threat. Well, you're getting a look at it on this drive with that little gap scheme and counter that they've been running.
So you saw Tanner Lee step to avoid pressure there. Incomplete, brings up 4th down, and another opportunity now for Drew Brown. 33 away, knocks it through. So both the quarterbacks have led the red team on scoring drives here in quarter number 1 of this annual red-white spring game. There they are, Patrick O'Brien, Tanner Lee, 12 and 13. The things they really liked about O'Brien is that strong arm. Just even though he's in his freshman year, has shown a lot of poise here. Sometimes they forget he's a freshman and makes a freshman mistake. They have to remind themselves. He's still very young. Redshirt freshman, spent the year on campus last year. Who's your guy?
Kel
Wilbon. His best game last year against Northwestern, back in his hometown of Chicago. 55 yards. 40 long of 32. So here's a look at that red defense again against that white offense led by Tristan Gebbia. You see the kind of the 4-2 look there. Not the 3-4 that we'll likely see in the fall. Another pass for Gebbia on target, but incomplete.
One interesting move you can see is Joshua Kalu actually moving from corner to safety. A lot of coaches spoke with him yesterday, said they feel like that's his natural position. So I'm eager to see how he transitions and how he can command the defense, being more vocal now in the back end.
It was Mike Riley who said that Bob Diaco turned to him and he said, all right, you want to look out there on the field. And do you want to see Kalu out there on the field and standing beside you is Jackson? Or do you want to see both of them on the field?
I would like to see them both.
Absolutely.
Both outstanding players.
So it was a terrific move to put Kalu back at safety. It's those position battles. Not only do you have to evaluate the position, but then after that, what other talent can we get on the field? How do we get our 11 best defenders, if possible? Or if you're talking about the backfield, what are our 5 best guys, and how do we arrange it to get those 5 best on the field? And I think Kalu's willingness to move to that safety allowed that to happen.
Definitely. He's a very intelligent kid, so I know transition won't be too tough for him.
Of course. So that, as you said, it's more his natural position. Good completion out of the flat. Nifty move there.
Austin Rose.
Once again. Let's get on the field to Damon.
You guys are getting a really good glimpse at it. Not only is this the top unit, you guys talked about the evolution of Kalu's ability to play safety, but they're getting good looks from the offenses, which this program has to do if they want to cross over into the eastern half and being able to have a chance to play for Big Ten titles. It's all about establishing depth in how you practice and getting a chance for this defense to look at guys like Austin Rose and Tristan Gebbia. That's a big part of it.
And here's Rose again. Steps through the tackle. Puts the shoulder pad down, and a nice gain again by Austin Rose. Even though Rose may not be in the conversation of the top 3, he's certainly showing something here against the #1 squad. He really has throughout the spring.
Definitely. It's like Damon said, just providing that depth. You know, you never know the turns the season may take, so who knows? They may have to go to Austin Rose this season, and so far he's showing that he's ready for that responsibility.
Break out in the flat for a first down. Kalu with the tackle. Pass complete to Neelan Smith. And there is Kalu from that safety spot. Still learning the position very early on.
I like how quick Gebbia gets the ball out of his hands. He understands with the bubble play, you have to get the ball out quick with those good corners like Kalu, good safeties like Aaron Williams. They come up and they sniff that out quick. The ball out quick.
Sun peeks through here at Memorial Stadium. Gebbia over the middle to the wide open tight end, Eaglehop, who pulls it in down to the 20-yard line on a gain of 31 yards.
It's interesting, too, as you watch Englehop on the reception. Tight end was kind of an area of concern for these guys coming in the spring, especially with Ketter out due to injury. But Hoppus has evolved, and that right there was perhaps the best athlete of the bunch in David Englehop, who's still learning his way along, but physically is as good as anybody that they can line up there.
Yeah, a young guy who has a lot of promise. Flag on the play.
You mentioned the tight ends, but that was actually a very impressive throw by Gebbia. 31-yard strike
penalty
down the middle.
First down.
I'm impressed so far how he's leading this team down the field, especially against his #1 defense.
So clock ticking down here to end this first quarter of play in the annual red-white scrimmage. It's 6-0. The red team has led them to 2 scores here in the first. The serviceman reunion. Big hugs from the family in a surprise and a coin flip. What a great moment here at Memorial Stadium. Spring football on BTN is brought to you in part by State Farm. Talk to an agent today at 800-STATE FARM. Welcome back into Memorial Stadium. 6-0. The red team leads it as we begin quarter number 2 along with Amir Abdul. I'm Larry Putney. Good to have you with us here in the annual red-white spring scrimmage. This is a bit unusual for you to actually be doing something during a spring game.
It is, but I'm enjoying it, man. Getting to see the field from this view is different. You know, you definitely get the fan atmosphere. I'm loving it so far.
And, of course, during your 4 years on campus, you never played in a spring.
I did not, you know.
How does that happen, right?
I don't know, man. It was just by chance. I just never got to play in the spring game, but I've always was around, so it was always good to be around and enjoy the festivities.
You may not have played in the spring game, but you did plenty of other playing here. There's your career numbers from 11 through 14. 4,500+ yards rushing, number 2 all-time in Nebraska. I don't know, does that 73 total receptions in your career stand out? I think I might have heard that from you 6 times yesterday.
Yeah, speaking to Coach Riley, he told me, man, you would have at least 78 catches a season here. And I'm looking like, counting on my fingers, like, man, I've only had probably 50 catches in my career at Nebraska. So,
my career,
yeah, so just it's definitely a different offense to what I played in, so things are just a little different.
Jebby has found an early favorite receiver here in Engelhop. A couple of nice completions. A couple of drops, though, early, but Engelhop and Jebby are both very young freshmen here, moving the ball down the field against, impressively, this number 1 defense for Nebraska. Gain of 3 there on the check down from Jebby. Job from Deshaun Neal there first, and there's a kid who looks good, huh? Deshaun Neal, 6'7", 270. He's got a body of like a bodybuilder.
He's the guy you want walking off the bus first. You go into some opposing territory, you have Deshaun Neal walk off the bus. You're halfway the winner by the time he gets off the bus. So
Deshaun Neal, a sophomore out of Houston, Texas, played at Omaha Central in Omaha. Makes the tackle on the last play to bring up 3rd down and 7. Jebby in the backfield along with Austin Rose. Boy, terrific completion for the first down. Great poise again by Jebby to avoid the pressure and completed to Brent Clausen, the wide receiver.
Once again, these old lines are doing a good job. You know, they don't get enough credit sometimes. Talk about the quarterback's ability to lose out of the pocket to extend the play, but they're doing a good job holding up at the point of contact.
Jebby right now 5 of 7 for 54 yards. Now Rose hit first in the hole, but drags the defender forward. A little bit of lean to him, does Rose.
He does. Good body control. He's a guy, he's always in control with his moves. That's something that you want to see out of a lot of backs, and he does that really well.
Saw Nick Gates there chatting with head coach Mike Riley. Gates, an all Big Ten performer in that offensive line for the Huskers. 7 carries for Rose, 35 yards. He has a long of 13, averaging 5 a carry against this top unit. Jebby into the end zone. Incomplete.
He's headed for number 80. That'll set up 3rd down and goal from the 4-yard line.
Tipped at the line of scrimmage. And incomplete. So much made last year of the Calabasas connection. Calabrasca. Jebby a part of that, along with Keyshawn Johnson Jr. And recently a couple of new commitments this week as Nebraska has a big recruiting weekend. Jebby on the outside and in there for the touchdown. So the first touchdown drive of the day from the freshman. Tristan Jebby, very impressive against that top unit.
Very impressive drive. He's not known for his legs, but he got around the edge pretty good there, so that's good news as well.
6 of 9 on the day for Jebby, 64 yards and a touch. Here's another look. Cedric King bit on the inside. Gave him the corner. Seen that read option once or twice, right?
Once or twice. Definitely had the quarterbacks for it.
No doubt. Let's go down to the field. Damon is with a former Husker quarterback.
One of the great ones, the consummate competitors, Tommy Armstrong. Amir and these guys are upstairs joking in the booth that Amir knows a little bit about the zone read. You do as well, man. A little while removed. Do you miss it?
Yeah, I do. But I'm reliving the memories just coming out here and seeing these guys work and seeing these new quarterbacks come out here and kind of give the fans kind of a taste of what their future holds. And I'm doing a great job of what I'm doing right now, just trying to get that phone call in the next couple of weeks. And other than that, I love this game. I love Nebraska. It's a great feeling to come out here and see all these fans.
Big recruiting weekend for Nebraska. You're looking at what's probably going to be a record crowd. If you rewound 4.5 years ago and said, Tommy, you're going to get 80,000 people at a scrimmage, how would you have relayed that to some of these guys they've got on campus this weekend?
I wouldn't know what to say, honestly. That just shows the fan base how important the games are, even if it's a scrimmage. These fans are excited, they're ready. And it's definitely a great time of the year for the fans to come out and see the new staff. A new defensive front, new defensive scheme, and two quarterbacks that's working their tails off to compete for a starting spot. So they have a lot to look forward to, and I guarantee these recruits are coming out here and seeing all this. The young guys are competing from the get-go. You got Tristan out here. He's doing the reps with the white team, and it just shows that those guys have to come out here and be ready to play regardless. So I know those recruits would love to see that. So I know they're doing a great job.
You've seen this program for a long time now. You've seen it go through some transitions. Before we let you go, how comfortable are you saying that it's in good hands now that you're done with your career?
I think it's in great hands. Those guys, this scheme is a great scheme. You got a bunch of great quarterbacks. They're work hogs. I go up there all the time just to visit with Coach Riley and Coach Langs and Coach Dub. And I see all the quarterbacks in there, not even with Coach Langs, just in there studying together and things like that. They're doing a lot of testing and stuff like that. So I know they're in great hands. Coach Langs and Coach Riley, those guys are offensive gurus, and I know they're doing a great job putting this team in the right hands, definitely offensively, of just getting in better shape of getting ready for the season.
Former four-year starter, there he is. That's Tommy Armstrong joining us, guys.
Thanks, David. Of course, Tommy getting ready for the draft. He's been working hard in his transition to a receiver. That's not always an easy transition, but certainly he's the kind of athlete that can make that transition.
Definitely. A lot of guys don't know how athletic Tommy is. I remember one summer he sat there and did, I think, like 4 backflips in a row. That's when I was like, you know what? I'm never going to doubt this guy again. So if anyone can make that transition, I'm completely confident that Tommy can do so. And I'm looking forward to him having a bright future at the next level.
One of those quarterbacks just beloved here by Husker fans. You've seen Divine Azigbo with a couple of carries here for the red team. 2nd down and 7. Langsdorff told us this will be more of a tailback running team, which not a surprise when you have the kind of quarterbacks you do here. But we've seen that here early already, and not only have they been very efficient through the air, both quarterbacks, but the running game has been solid as well.
Definitely. I've been really impressed with what I've seen from the backfield. They all bring different elements to the game. Like I said earlier, Devontae Zigbo is much more of a physical presence. Trey Bryant and Mikael Wilbon, they definitely bring a little change of pace, but they all can hold their own if they're asked to carry the load on any given day.
Brian back to pass. Check down to a Zigbo with nice hands. He stretches out and gets the first down by about a half yard. Nice job by Zigbo to pick up the first down. 230-pound guy who can catch it out of the backfield. We'd like to see that.
O'Brien and Tanner Lee both doing good jobs of going through the reads and coming down to the back if they can't find anything downfield.
A little flag on the field.
It's red team. It's a 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
So sideline interference call over there. Those are the things you don't expect to be called during a spring game, right?
Players are getting into it.
You saw the chuckle by the coach.
I'm sure there's a lot of personal pride riding on this game. These guys, if they can have anything to do with the sideline judgment on the first down, they're going to get into it.
Mike Riley's like, well, you're calling that? Backs him up 5 yards. We'll bring up first down and 10. It was after the first down.
What we do is we assign
Luke McNitt in there at fullback now as he leads through the hole. Back to pass over the middle and complete. A nice throw by Patrick O'Brien. There's Hoppus again with the catch.
These tight ends are starting to show up. That was an area of concern, to my knowledge, from the coaches. But
yeah,
they're doing a good job today of showing up across the middle and making some big catches.
It's a short list of tight ends here this year for Nebraska. Hoppus, of course, won the job. He's former walk-on, taking charge, former transfer out of Wayne State. That's tipped at the line of scrimmage. Actually, he came to Nebraska. Hoppus did as a defensive end, transitioned over to the offensive side to be a tight end. Luke McNitt. Jack Stoll, another tight end, 6'4", 250 freshman out of Colorado. And then Matt Snyder, a sophomore out of San Ramon, California. Nice job to get the hand on it, deflect it. Second and 10. Rolling the other way and finds his man for the first down. Complete. Gain of 13 yards. On the completion by O'Brien. Keon Williams with the catch. O'Brien putting together a nice drive here as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's good to see him get on the run and throw the ball on the move a little bit. That's something that I was a little concerned in. He's a bigger quarterback. Doesn't move quite as well as possibly Tanner Lee or Jevia, but to see him roll out to his left and throw a strike like that, that's really encouraging.
O'Brien now 4 of 7 through the air. Both of these quarterbacks completed better than 70% in the spring as they tracked it throughout the spring. Hefty move there. Good carry. Zigbo. Good patience there in the hole.
Great job by David Neville, filling off that wall there. That's a guy who has to really have a big year for Nebraska for them to be a successful team up front. You hear a lot about Nick Gates. You hear a lot about, DJ Foster. But don't be too quiet about David Neville. He's a guy who can come off, and, I really feel like can get this team a spark.
There's a Zigbo in there for the touchdown. Behind that big offensive line, Neville leading the way. Yeah, Neville at 6'9", 315. Amir, you expect him to begin to play, the dominance that you expect from a guy of that size.
Definitely. Been in the program for a couple years now. Yeah, he's had a lot more time in the weight room to, really come into his own. He understands now. You see him right now really coming off great on that exchange right there. That's what you want to see in the run game. I know these backs are excited to have a veteran line in front of them so they can score a lot of touchdowns like that this year.
Extra point good by Brown. That offensive line led the way there. Devina Zigbo, 7 carries, 49 yards, and that touch he has a long of 19. Well, from the diamond to the field and everywhere else in between, we keep you up to date on all of the happenings in the conference this week in the Big Ten. It's tomorrow at 9 Eastern on BTN. 13-7 Red in control here. Along with Amir Abdullah, I'm Larry Putney. Good to have you with us here at the annual red-white scrimmage here in Lincoln, Nebraska. And I think the quarterback battle, we thought maybe it was an edge to Lee, but I think we're seeing now what the coaches have seen throughout the spring is this is a pretty even battle between 3 very talented quarterbacks.
Definitely. They told us it was going to be tough, but seeing this today just makes it a lot tougher. You see Patrick O'Brien just put on a great drive just then. I'm excited to see how Tanner Lee will respond, and obviously Jevia is having a good day as well, so they have a good conflict they have at the quarterback position as well as the running back position. They're doing well.
I know one of your favorite moments in spring game history was watching a long touchdown run by a new running back who entered the game. Let's take a look at that back in 2014, and what a moment this was for Nebraska, for the nation, for that young man, Jack Hoffman.
Oh, man, this was awesome. I remember actually sitting out this game, and I saw him go out there, and I was like, who's this little guy getting the ball? And he turned on the Jets, man, and it was just a special, special moment. And what has grown now with the Team Jack Foundation has been awesome for the University of Nebraska. And it just shows you what this university is about, and just such a loving moment, man.
Hard to believe that was 4 years ago.
Hard to believe, man. I'm getting older. I'm getting older.
That's right. Jack's still doing well and still fighting the good fight. Wyatt Mazur, the Nebraska prep, now here in Lincoln with the completion and catch there. Wyatt Mazur was an outstanding running back in high school. One of those kids walking on, hoping to get an opportunity, shunned offers from several other Division II schools or NAIA schools to come here to Lincoln. There is Wyatt Mazur again with the carry. Jebby is still out there at quarterback.
We kind of highlighted on the O-line in this last series for the red team, but with the white team here, I want to see them build a little bit more depth. You know, you can't sometimes depend on the same five to go through the entire season, so I want to see someone really step up and take about a range with that, to be that swing man, that 6th, 7th, or 8th guy off the bench to come in and help out.
Depth was, one of the concerns that both Coach Riley and Coach Langsdorff kind of sent the message this week when they talked about overall production last year wasn't where they wanted it to be, and had to have some guys step up looking for that 7th, 8th, and 9th guy. And there's a nice carry by Mazur. You saw the kind of shiftiness and good balance and toughness of Mazur on that carry. I think Gaylord, Farniak, Barnett, but Wilson certainly an opportunity. One of those guys is going to need to step up and provide some more depth in that offensive line.
Yeah, definitely. I know the weight room will be really important for those guys this offseason. As you can see, Mazur here, stand up, just great balance, great fight. Guy looks exciting.
Very tough guy in the backfield there is Wyatt Mazur. Picked up the first down. Here's Jebby back to throw out into the flat, complete. Catch by Keyshawn Johnson Jr. puts it on the turf. And recovered by the red team. So there's your first look at Keyshawn Johnson Jr., but the turnover.
And you can see Coach Diaco really getting after it. He's going to love that. That's something I know he's going to demand out of his defense a lot, is to turn the ball over, give the offense more opportunity. And the more you can strip that ball out, the better chance you're going to have winning games. And I know that's definitely one of his focal points in 2017.
How about Luke Gifford here?
Oh, the transition for Luke Gifford has been amazing to watch. When I came in, and he was a freshman, I was my senior year, he was a scrawny senior who could run. Now he's a beefed up, hulked up looking guy, linebacker, and he's creating plays out here now. So I'm excited to see how he transitions to the linebacker position more and more.
Talking about body type change, he came in around 190, 195. He's up to 230 now, just a sophomore.
Incredible. Started
at safety. He's now moved into the linebacker role. He's going to play that field side linebacker, which means he'll be on the side where the majority of the field is, and they'll go down the field right away. Completion over the middle to his tight end, and getting up slowly there on the 20-yard completion is Tyler Hoppus. We'll check on him. We'll tell you coming up at halftime. We'll have a conversation with the Director of Athletics at the University of Nebraska, Sean Eichhorst, will be joining us. Sean is part of the College Football Oversight Committee. We'll talk about some of the recruiting calendar changes that were implemented this past week in Indianapolis. Sean, a very big part of that. We'll also talk about what's coming up here on campus and maybe initiatives that are priorities. Bob Diaco chatting with his defense. And there's Luke Gifford.
Glad to see Hoppus come up, turn off the field. He's had a good game so far.
So Tanner Lee back out there at quarterback for Nebraska, 6'4", 220-pound junior. Of course, he transferred from Tulane, sat out last year after the transfer. His trip and journey here to Lincoln is really a terrific story. Billy Devaney, who's the director of player personnel for the Huskers, as he goes down the field, finds it near the end zone, and in there for the touchdown. Great touch by Tanner Lee.
Wow.
And there is Spielman. We talked about him on the completion for the touchdown.
And there's that arm strength we were speaking about earlier with Tanner Lee. He's a guy who can really stretch the field. You're going to see here, he really steps back.
A good composure there on a snap that wasn't ideal, and watch him lay this in.
It's a beautiful placement. Whew. It's hard to guard those kind of throws.
J.D. Spielman on the reception. And you saw Connor Young signaling the touchdown, knew it was there. Damon Benning was down in the field. Probably got a pretty good look at it, huh, David?
Yeah, unbelievable. But I've seen those window throws all spring, and the dilemma was always, gosh, is that good offense or is that bad defense? And it's hard without seeing it, but the folks at home get to see that's just good pitch and catch. That's what Tanner Lee gives you. And the funny thing is, you go back to the questions we asked in the pregame meeting yesterday. How is Keon Williams holding off J.D. Spielman? And what did Coach Langsdorff say? They're both really good, but Spielman is coming. You've seen both of them flash today.
Boy, terrific touch there. Right where only Spielman could grab it. And the coverage was not bad.
So we see again, Tanner Lee comes down. He answers O'Brien's last drive, which is a good drive of his own. So they're putting on a good show, making the decision a lot tougher for these coaches.
DiCaprio Boodle, who's one of the second-team field cornerbacks, was in coverage. Boodle was right there, but boy, what a toss from Tanner Lee. So now both Tanner Lee, Patrick O'Brien have led the teams into the end zone, and both led for a field goal as well. Jebbia back in there, quarterbacking that white squad. Mazur in the backfield along with Jebbia. Quick out in the flat. Keyshawn again.
Steve.
There's Keyshawn Johnson Jr.
Mr. Jebbia's pass complete to number 3, Keyshawn Johnson Jr.
Keyshawn, another of that Calabasas crew. Interested to see him. I know he has a lot of flexibility at the receiver spot. Can play outside, can play inside. So I'm interested to see how they utilize him out here today.
Keyshawn 6'1", 195 out of Mission Viejo, California, Calabasas High School. Of course, the son of Keyshawn Johnson, who had a terrific career in the NFL, wrote a couple books.
He was all right.
Nice completion to Mazur. He's got some speed. Wyatt Mazur putting on a bit of a show here.
You know, I like to see this. I'm really impressed how these quarterbacks just keep checking it down. That's something that is going to keep the pass percentage really high. You can see here, Jebbia, once again, all these quarterbacks have done a good job going through their progressions, hitting the back, coming across, man. You can get us the ball with a little space. We can do something for you now.
Jebbia again over the middle, complete. Jebbia with the short gain, and what a terrific attendance here at Memorial Stadium today. 78,312. That's the highest attendance since 2008 when they had just over 80,000, but 78,000 plus in attendance here at Memorial Stadium for this annual scrimmage. Red versus the white.
Incredible. Incredible. These fans know it's a new regime, new players coming in. Mike Riley finally get the players that he recruited to settle into this new schemes that they're implementing defensively and offensively. Exciting times for Nebraska football.
Marcus Newby chases down Rose from behind. Newby's a guy who could really shine in this new Bob Diaco defense.
Definitely. He's a guy, he's a radical pass rusher. Reminds me a lot of like Elvis Dumervil, a guy who can really set the edge, but also is a really good pass rusher, really fast guy, really tough guy. So with this new 3-4 offense, I know he's going to play the outside. He's going to do a good job.
Well, the conversation with Diaco yesterday in the meetings that we had, and just his attention to detail and how precise he likes to be. I mean, you know, we talked about almost anal retentiveness to what he does, but it's very detailed, very specific. You know, kingdoms.
What's that?
Let's go down to David.
Looking at the play. We can get to it if you want.
Damon, down to the field to you.
Yeah, you know, you hate to keep talking about the Austin Rose show, especially against the #1 D, but the caveat I'll add to that is they are in a D that they're not accustomed to playing. But you'd like to see Nebraska better in the open field. But for about the third time today, fellas, Austin Rose is not your average scout team running back.
Right. Down the field. And incomplete. Down there in coverage was Eric Lee Jr., who's had a bit of a revival under this new defense and position coach.
Definitely. And going back to what you said earlier about Coach Diaco being so meticulous and so anal with his coaching style, he's a guy who really wants to simplify things for the guys out there. He wants these guys playing fast and not thinking about too much. So he gives them a few things that they must do, and that's it. Let them go play ball.
Yeah, he takes tremendous pride in being a great teacher as Missouri is shut down again by Gifford. Yeah. There he is. He was a two-time All-Big Ten linebacker at Iowa. Served as a graduate assistant for the Hawkeyes for a while. Former head coach at UConn. Of course, the defensive coordinator at Notre Dame during their run with that dominant defense back in 2012 when he had Manti Te'o at the linebacker spot. Bring a lot of energy. One of the things Mike Riley said that he likes about the transition here to the 3-4 is how quickly it's gone from the classroom to the field, and he can see the transition or the translation of what they're learning in the classroom and how specific. One-handed interception by Gifford. Luke Gifford down the sideline. Second turnover of the game for Luke Gifford. He forced the fumble and comes up with the interception. Go down to the field to Damon.
Yeah, there's that guy. He has flashed all spring. He's had a ton of storylines written about him. We were joking together, Amir, yesterday. He came in 195-pound safety that was a great basketball player as well. He's lifted and eaten his way into 240 pounds. And, guys, I'm telling you, if he stays healthy, he's the one field linebacker that's not like the others. He can turn and run. He's comfortable in space, and he can play the force as well. He gives them a lot of versatility on the edge.
Yeah, David, qualities you're looking for in a field linebacker. Run through that.
Well, you're looking for a guy that can turn and run, right? He's got to be accustomed to playing in space where he's out there covering grass. But then you get a puller or, you know, an uncovered guard. Let's say you've got to set the edge against counter. He's got to be able to take that on, too. So he's a combo guy. You like big, long body types, but unfortunately, those guys got to be able to turn and run in space, too.
Now, they wrote that position for Luke Gifford, at least the way he's playing right now. And 2 turnovers for Luke Gifford. The forced fumble and now the interception.
Yeah, Mikael Wilbon back in there.
Run by Wilbon. Patrick O'Brien back in there at quarterback. There's a look at Luke Gifford. Gifford, a Lincoln, Nebraska product. Played his high school at Lincoln Southeast. The way, yeah, you see the cast on that left wrist. He almost had to catch it one-handed, didn't he? Hop us again with the completion over the middle. But Gifford, he's I think the way that it was described by Bob Diaco is he just sees the game better from the angle at which he's at now. You know, some guys just get into a different position. You know, he came in as a safety, and now that he's playing down a little closer, he sees the game better. He's picking it up more instinctive. Just seems like this switch to the 3-4 has served him very well.
Definitely. Working alongside with Chris Webber definitely is probably helping him as well. Those two guys who are definitely students of the game. They see the game before it happens, and that's what you want out of your linebacker core. So this is looking to shape it up as a pretty good linebacker core for Nebraska.
Meanwhile, O'Brien continues to move his team down the field, complete down to the 10-yard line. That's a nice gain of about 21 yards. Deanna Williams again with a catch. Williams runs great routes, and again, it's Williams and Spielman battling for that third and fourth wide receiver spots.
I'll tell you what, Patrick O'Brien isn't afraid to step up and throw it across the middle. That's like the third time I've seen him hit the seams, hit across the middle, where he's just fearless, man. That's what you want out of a quarterback, a guy who's going to rip it, and he's really showing that today.
37 seconds to go. Timeout on the field as it's complete inside the 10-yard line. We'll bring up first down and goal for the Red Squad. Anything stand out to you, Amir, here through almost 2 quarters of play?
Just to balance offensively. I feel like they've done a good job of implementing enough of the running game with what Damon said earlier with the counters, with a little bit of outside zone. I saw that. And also with the pass game. They're doing a good job spreading the ball around, getting the tight ends involved. That's something that's going to be really important for this team to stay diverse, hard to scheme against. That's something that, when I was playing, we were really heavy on the option and the zone read. So it was a little easier to scheme against us at times. They're really diverse out here, so I'm liking all the different ways they're attacking this defense offensively.
Bryan back to throw. Nearly picked off. Route jumped right in front by Tony Butler. Butler had an opportunity there. Second down and goal for the Red Squad.
It'd be really good right now for this white defense to get a stop here in the red zone. That'll do a lot for their confidence.
Wilbon in there at the tailback spot again. They'll go out to the corner. And a bit long from O'Brien. Bryan trying to find Brian Reimers, who's had a terrific spring. He's another Lincoln product. Reimers, a former walk-on here in Lincoln. Just catches everything that's thrown at him. That's the way the coaches describe him. Kind of a tall, lanky guy, but third and goal now. 28 to go before half. Out of the flat, wide open is Wilbon, and he will walk it in. Touchdown for Mikael Wilbon on the completion from O'Brien. That's a blown coverage right there.
Doesn't get much easier than that,
In the flat, walks it in.
Looks like Greg Simmons, linebacker, number 31, was a little bit confused with what the call was. Didn't carry the back in the flats, and I love those.
So Brown in for another field goal attempt, and that is good. Hey, you said earlier, Coach Riley feels like maybe he has his recruits now, and maybe more accurately, he certainly tailored his game to Tommy Armstrong Jr., and it worked well, and Tommy meant so much to this program for 4 years. But if you look at the kind of offense that Coach Riley wants to run, finally maybe the kind of quarterbacks that he's hoping to put his type of stamp on this program. And I think we've seen the balance that he's been talking about is so important between the run-pass game, but also quarterbacks who, completing 70+% of their passes throughout the spring.
Definitely. You want guys in there who are definitely, like you said, they're gym rats. They're in there all the time studying the playbook and understand being efficient is the most important thing.
Just looking purely at the numbers right now, Patrick O'Brien, 4 of 7. Make it 5 of 8 through the air with that 1 touchdown here in the first half as we close it out in half number 1. Tanner Lee
That's the end of the
6
first
of 8,
half.
92 yards in the touchdown. His passer rating 212 right now for Tanner Lee. 6 of 8, very efficient through the air for Tanner Lee. There's Patrick O'Brien. So Well, the first 30 minutes in the books here at Memorial Stadium in the annual red-white scrimmage. The next 30 second half action will actually be 2 more quarters, but we'll have a running clock in both, so we'll probably click along at a bit faster pace. But I think we've had a good look. We've got a good look at the quarterback battle between certainly the 2 top guys in Tanner Lee and Patrick O'Brien. Chebbia has looked impressive, despite the fact that he's likely to redshirt, get a little bit bigger and stronger next year.
Definitely. I feel offensively they come out and they put on a good show. They're showing the coaches that they made a lot of improvements in the running game, to my understanding, and these quarterbacks are going out and they're showing a good time.
Let's go down to the field. Damon Benning is with Danny Langsdorf.
Coach, there's a lot to take from that. You're obviously not just going to be a stat guy. Do you like the efficiency and continuity thus far?
Yeah, I think we've been pretty clean. We haven't had a lot of, mistakes and procedure, false starts. The interception wasn't very good. Almost had another one. But I like how we've been pretty crisp, I think, moving the ball up and down the field.
You're obviously a smart guy. You've done this a lot. How do you parse through good offensive throws and progression versus not very good defense when you're evaluating?
Yeah, I think you just really have to look at the order that we're going within the play and making sure that we're starting at the right spot and then moving on and checking the ball down. We've hit a couple checkdowns today for big hits, so that's been encouraging. I think we've done a better job of that all spring. So I like that we've done that in a pressure situation like we have today. And overall, I just think it's been a pretty sharp first half.
All right, Coach, appreciate your thoughts.
Yep.
I'm playing to assist all of you.
So halftime here at the annual red-white scrimmage. A terrific afternoon in Lincoln. When we come back, we'll talk with Director of Athletics, Sean Eichhorst. Stay with us. Welcome back to Memorial Stadium here in Lincoln, Nebraska. Halftime at the annual red-white scrimmage. We are joined now by the Director of Athletics for the University of Nebraska, Sean Eichhorst. Sean, always glad to have you.
Always good to be with you, Larry.
You've had a busy week.
It has been a busy week.
You've been in Indianapolis in committee meetings. So talk about what some of the recruiting changes that you walked through, and then also what was passed.
Well, it's been a culmination of a lot of hard work over the course of a couple years. I've had the great pleasure of serving on the Oversight Committee and have been entrusted to co-chair the working group on recruiting with Dan Mullen at Mississippi State. And it's been an incredible endeavor. It's taken a lot of work. We've taken a deep dive. We've said from the beginning, from the board of directors, they want a comprehensive and holistic package of reform. And through the review process, there was a lot of give and take, but I think we found a place. Yesterday was a monumental day, I think, for the preservation and enhancement of college football. I really do. And folks who are a lot more experienced and been around the block a lot more than I have said that.
Yeah.
And the impact, I think, we'll see roll out the nuances.
Yep.
I think folks just don't quite know exactly what we're looking at. But in a nutshell, what we took a look at was the landscape today and the reality of that landscape. And we had young people that were making decisions and following through on their commitments at a big rate. 70%, right? But they didn't have the benefit of getting the information from all the institutions across the country in a fair and balanced way.
Right?
Recruits, prospects,
right,
in their junior year. And so what we want to do is reorder the process and put them in a position where they could make informed decisions for all the right reasons. And so what we did is we put a package together that would provide an earlier signing date. And the commissioners will work on that here in June. That wasn't something totally in our purview, but we've moved up the first signing date to December.
Right.
And so that was important. And then what we did is we provided earlier visits, earlier official visits, paid visits by the institutions in April, May, and June. Right now, they don't have the benefit of that until September. But most of them, 70% of them, had already made their decisions and followed through on their commitments. So it just didn't seem to make a lot of sense from an ordering perspective. And then there were a lot of folks involved in the recruiting space, individuals associated with prospects. And essentially, we put forward the rule that basketball put in place in 2010. So all of those folks, those third-party folks associated with prospects, we've created a rule and a restriction in a way that will allow these young people to make decisions in a way that is more balanced and transparent. And And then the other thing that we've done is we've cleaned up the camp environment. So camps and clinics today, 15 opportunities over a period of time. We've now restricted that to 10 days. They don't have to be consecutive days. They can be held in June and July. They have to be held on a 4-year campus. And if our coaches are going to go to another 4-year institution to participate in a camp, only the coaches can go. You can't have directors of operations and recruiting people. So I think given that, the 10th assistant coach, which we're going to put in place come in January to help balance, we're the highest ratio sport, and football drives the engine, and so we needed to get more coaching involved. So really excited about that.
And so impressed what you did in getting opinions from so many across a very broad, diverse audience within college athletics. So terrific job, Sean. Great to have you.
Larry.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Appreciate that.
Sean Edcourse, Nebraska Director of Athletics here at halftime. What a pass here on the touchdown to Spielman. 27-7 here at intermission. In Lincoln, Nebraska, annual red-white scrimmage, and there's Mike Riley, the crowd pleaser before the game, heading down to the tunnel. Along with Amir Abdullah, I'm Larry Putney. Good to have you with us as we bring you this annual red-white scrimmage. And Amir, we've seen a lot of offense, talked a lot about the offense here in the first half. Probably not big reason to be concerned about the defense, but it's very vanilla from Bob Diaco. He's kind of running that 4-2-5 as opposed to the 3-4 we might see in the fall.
Definitely. The offense is working on all cylinders, what they've been doing all spring, but the defense is running more of a base 4-3 as opposed to the 3-4 they will be implementing this coming season. So you won't see too much from them, so I can't expect them to stop the offense, but let's not take anything away from the offense. They're doing a great job out there, very balanced with the run game.
Yeah, you love the balance, right?
Love it.
Yeah. Second half coming your way. Bob Diaco, the new Nebraska defensive coordinator. His defense has come up with a couple of good turnovers. Luke Gifford's been terrific defensively for the Huskers, but it's been a quick turn here for Bob Diaco in implementing a brand new 3-4 offense, new terminology, new plays, kind of putting different players in different places, different positions, teaching new technique and fundamentals. And even if you think about block destruction in the 3-4 and what those guys up front are trying to do, and they're trying to be disruptive to allow those linebackers to flow and get to the ball. That's even a difference. It's even the way, even the way you play that part of the game. It's different.
Definitely. I truly believe they have the personnel to do so.
Yeah.
You have big Nick Stoltenberg in the middle. I think it's going to be an excellent nose guard. You have the Carlos and Khalil Davis, the two twins. I feel like they're going to make great tackles, great ends in that great defense. And we spoke a little bit about Marcus Newby earlier, what he can do on the edge. So I'm excited to see, once everything comes into play, how all the talent falls into place.
So here in this third quarter, we will play 20 minutes, a 20-minute running quarter. And that top defensive unit is back out there for the Red. Jebbia getting a lot of work as he's back in there at quarterback. There's Rose with the carry. Not going anywhere, says Khalil Davis. And those Davis twins, they're going to be a big part of what Nebraska does defensively next year.
Definitely. Nebraska is known for having big physical D linemen up front, guys who can get off the ball. And from talking to these coaches, that's what these guys bring, excitement, juice. And I'm excited to see these guys continue to grow in this defense and bring more and more influence of what they're going to bring to this 3-4.
There's a look at Khalil, 290, 6'2", out of Blue Springs. His twin, Carlos Davis, is playing short side defensive end. Khalil was playing that nose tackle, playing behind Mick Stoltenberg. He's had tremendous growth, really beginning to turn it on. I mean, he thought Carlos, might be the dominant of the two twins, but it's very even now. Khalil has really turned it on here in the spring, as there's Wyatt Mazur again with some niftiness out of the backfield. This one reminds you a little bit of, because he's a Nebraska kid, played in, kind of a shifty, back type of guy. A little bit of Danny Woodhead.
Danny's a really good friend of mine. Danny's a guy who, he's surprised a lot of guys come out of Nebraska, but once you go and train with him, you're not surprised at all. He's a guy who's very talented. He's with Baltimore now, and looking forward to seeing him doing great things. Another Nebraska guy.
For Nebraska prep, as there's Mazur. Hit first by Davis and then brought down by Eric Lee. We just momentarily touched on it, but the difference for Eric Lee this year, kind of his adjustment, and he's really become a factor at corner this year for Nebraska.
Definitely. He understands the defense and the position more. He's been working with a couple different secondary coaches the last couple of years. So to finally get settled in with a new guy who kind of understands him, to my knowledge, the best to this point. He's a guy who I feel like they can get the most out of his potential.
Eric Lee out of Massachusetts, and one of the other things Bob Diaco said about Eric Lee was it might have been one of those, coach-player connections. He and Dante Williams have just connected, and it's kind of turned it on for Eric Lee, and I'm really hoping that he can provide some very valuable backup at that field cornerback, which is the wide side of the field, typically the stronger of the two in coverage. It's the spot that will be occupied in a starter role by Chris Jones, who had a terrific year last year with 3 interceptions. I think the coaches, and especially Dante Williams, Bob Elliott, those defensive secondary coaches would tell you that they're very pleased with the way this defensive secondary looks for Nebraska. Aaron Williams has really taken a big jump, and I know Bob Diaco is such a huge fan of Aaron Williams and what he has done.
Definitely. The more depth you can bring to a defense, especially in the back end, guys, you're competing against some of the top receivers in the country every week. You need guys who can come in and be warriors for you.
Brennan Hohenstein with a nice grab, the tight end for Nebraska, former Northeast Nebraska prep, played his prep ball at Sioux City Heelan. Enough for a first down. Now under center. Blair the draw given to Mazur.
You see Nebraska really working that counter scheme. That's something they really want to get good at. We mentioned a little bit earlier about kind of going away from the outside zone a little bit, relying on this. And I think they have the guys up front who can do so. So it's good to see them have some success doing so today.
Newell in there up front for Nebraska defensively. With Carlos Davis and King. Jebby up top. A little pump fake now into the flat.
Man, I'll tell you what, I'm really impressed with Jebby today. He's really putting on a show. He's really poised to be, this young. He's only a true freshman, early enrollee. Hasn't even been here for a year. He's going through progressions, looking people off, pump faking, hitting the flats when he doesn't have anything downfield. Nebraska's going to be some good hands with him in the future.
Yeah, there's a lot to be excited about here from a quarterback perspective for Nebraska. Tanner Lee's looked terrific. Patrick O'Brien has looked good, and even Tristan Jebbia has done a great job. And Engelhop, how about the reception after a couple of early drops from Engelhop at the tight end? Little heat on that one. Just through the fingertips of Todd Hannes. I think Damon Benning's down to the field. Let's go down to Damon.
I was trying to come up with something clever for DeMornay, but you listen to him long enough, he'll come up with something on his own. But that kid, Stan, getting a chance to take the day off. Stanley, we'll go first with you. You get a chance to watch. I know you're ultra competitive. You progressed a ton this spring in this offense, man. How are you feeling things are going with you?
It's going pretty good. Feel myself progressing and growing and just, getting faster and learning the game more mentally.
Yeah, you've matured so much. I'd watch you on the sidelines. You kind of yuck it up. You have a lot of guys you mess with. You've been all business here about the last 6-8 weeks. What's been the difference?
Just the young guys, just being a leader every day. The young guys have to follow somebody every day, so they got to come out there and be ready every day.
All right, now I've learned long enough not to ask you how you're feeling. I'm going to assume you feel good. Back to being your normal, explosive, easygoing self. You look like a polished wide receiver. Were you on a mission?
Absolutely determined, you would say. Coach Dub had many conversations with me to know just things I needed to get better. And I wasn't comfortable really with my knee last year. And I'm a lot more comfortable and I feel better. And I'm running routes better, so I'm there.
All right, so you guys say, before we let you go, there's something interesting because leadership has to fit your personality. Both you guys very easygoing, good-natured. How do you turn it on with so many young guys that you have to bring along? Is it better that they understand you or that you understand them as the leaders of this receiving corps?
It's kind of, lead by example, but being open to where they can come and talk to you and feel comfortable, to where they're not too afraid or to where they won't be, they can come to you and ask anything, It's just being open and being here that we're all teammates and everything like that, So, I mean, that's what we try to do, And me and Stan, we kind of go off each other. And if I'm down, he picks me up. If he down, I pick him up. So, we feed off each other,
But guys, you saw Mikael Wilbon peek his head in there. Considering this is the circus, he'll clown. Back to you guys in the booth.
All right. Thanks, Damon. Damon Benning down there in the sideline with a couple of guys that we talked about early. Amir, two guys Nebraska's going to have to find ways to get the ball in their hands this year.
Yeah, the Mornay personnel definitely brings the electrifying ability. Like I said earlier, you get the ball in his hands quick and early. He's a guy who can make someone miss and take it the distance. Stan is the guy you rely on third down. He's the guy who has to be tough and physical across the middle, catch that comeback, and he's definitely got to be the red zone threat for this team.
And they will find various ways, and kind of these jet sweeps just like this. Little jet there. A hand up to Gabe Ron, who's battling for time at that receiver spot.
Greg Simmons fired up there.
Out of Fort Pierce, Florida. He's another one who could factor into that outside linebacker, kind of the field, or that, I'm sorry, that inside linebacker for Trent Bray's backers. Second down and 6. Tanner Lee in there at quarterback. Across the middle to Spielman, and look at J.D. go. Another first down for Spielman. He's been impressive today. I mean,
really consistent.
Yeah.
He always finds his way to be open. I know it's just a simple, shallow pattern here, but he does a lot with the ball after he catches it. Just extending the play, taking a 2-yard throw, making it a first down. That's really important for these receivers.
His father, of course, the general manager of the Minnesota Vikings out of Eden Prairie, Minnesota. Just his freshman year. Lee again now. He'll go deep downfield. A little hand fight out there, one-to-one coverage. Just overshoots Young. Connor Young out there. Zach Darlington on the sideline, former Nebraska quarterback turned receiver. Numbers for Tanner Lee on the afternoon, 7 of 10 for 101. And 1 touchdown. Took a deep shot there. Brings up second down and 10. Zigbo providing protection. Kind of slips out into the screen. This is what you might see a lot of come the fall out of Nebraska's offense.
Absolutely. Coach Riley really hit on it yesterday, saying that he really wants to get the screen game going for this team. One thing to be an excellent screen team with all the blitzes that in this day and age defensive coordinators throw up. One way to slow that down is the screen game, so they have to be really good in this area.
You kind of shook your head yesterday during that screen game conversation when he talked about one of his running backs had 78 catches in a year. You had 73 in your career.
That's just me being selfish. I'm extremely selfish. I want screens, I want check downs, and of course hand the ball off.
Good carry here by Wilbon. Mikael Wilbon, who's had a terrific second half of spring.
I'm impressed by all these backs today. I think all these backs have done a good job of, for one, taking care of the football, two, knowing their assignments, being open on pass routes, and they're running with great patience.
There's a former quarterback. Tommy Frazier. National championship quarterback here at Nebraska. Lee across the middle with a bullet to his tight end. Complete.
It's looking like this is going to be a tight end offense here. These tight ends, man, they're really picking it up tonight.
Reimers came out of the slot there, so not the tight end. He's wide receiver, but came out of kind of that slot position there. There's a look at Nebraska's national championships. Osborne, 94, 95, 97.
Man,
I think in that stretch, they lost one game. They didn't win it in 96, but lost one game that year. It was the year they went to maybe Arizona State and lost early in the year. Check down there. Impressed with how these quarterbacks are managing the game, both Tanner Lee and Patrick O'Brien. Let's go down to the field to David Benning.
I get one of these rare masses of humanity, Nick Gates. All-conference caliber left tackle. Nick, no secret, right? You've got a ton of success. You're one of the veteran guys. You've heard some of the whispers, offense versus defense, who's getting the better of who this spring. How do you assess where you guys are as a unit?
I think we're coming along pretty well, offense and defense. I mean, the new defense Diaco has in is going pretty good. They're finding the ball. They have a lot of energy. And I think they're doing pretty good. So, I mean, we're all coming together. It's good. So I like it.
It's one of the rare places where fan bases assess good weight versus bad weight. I always tell people, wait and see how that guy feels. How do you feel?
I feel pretty good. So, I mean, I feel like we're coming along well. I feel like I'm healthy. I feel like everybody's healthy. And, I mean, I think we're doing pretty good. So I'm excited for the upcoming season.
Before we let you go, you're one of those guys that likes to just blend in, but you've asked to assume some of that leadership role. How do you like that as one of those fiery, ornery guys in practice?
I'm kind of more of the quiet leader, lead by action. Gerald likes to, talk a little bit more, so I kind of let him do that. But I just try to lead by action, and, I've kind of always been that way. So, I mean, I'm kind of staying my path and do what I got to do. So that's kind of what I do.
Best of luck to you coming up this season.
Thank you.
That's Nick Gates, guys. He's an all-conference caliber talent. Can he return to the 2015 healthy form?
Right. 13 starts last year, battled through injuries. There's another look at the touchdown pass from Tanner Lee, and watch Tanner just wait for his receiver, tight end Jack Stoll, to uncover.
Damon, you said Nick Gates is the blend-in type. It's kind of hard to blend in when you're 6'5", 290, but he's a great kid. I enjoyed my time playing with Nick Gates.
He's interesting, too, because his weight has fluctuated, and sometimes I think people overanalyze and over-scrutinize, but he's a guy that's maturing, getting comfortable at that left tackle spot, and as you know, just flipping from right to left and assuming everything is copacetic. It doesn't always happen that way, especially at this caliber of football.
5 returners with starting experience next year on that offensive line. Tanner Farmer, Gerald Foster, of course, you just talked to Nick Gates. You got David Neville, Cole Conrad with 5 starts last year. He's kind of in a battle at that center position, along with a highly recruited Michael Decker out of Omaha North. It should be a solid line, but I think what we heard in the coaches' meetings yesterday was, yeah, we certainly have the experience, the depth, the talent. We just have to go out and we have to prove it. And I think there was some disappointment, especially with some of the scrimmages here in the spring, with just the silly mistakes that you don't expect from a veteran group. Going the wrong way on a, on a pole.
I think it's just consistency, everyday consistency with your intent of what you're coming out there and working to do, and just focusing. Sometimes an O-line is not a highly heroic position, so sometimes the guys, they can get monotonous with their work ethic, but you have to come in to work every day with the same intent, the same focus to get things accomplished. So that's something that I know Coach Riley and his offensive staff is looking forward to.
So this is what spring's about. You knock through the extra point, shake hands, and then we got to switch the jerseys. So we go from red to white for Matt Farniok. Matt, one of those young offensive linemen who Nebraska's really looking to step up. Good check down there. Gain of about 2 on the completion from Jebbia to Tanner Haas. Pretty good showing here from this red offense. There's another look at Stanley Morgan Jr. He is going to be a big factor in the fall for Nebraska. Did not get to see him here today as he took the afternoon off, but throw the bones at a young age. Caleb Lightmore now in there to punt it away. what they're looking for out of Lightbourne this year, maybe just a bit more consistency. You saw earlier on a punt, 53-yard punt, and that one, but about 38 yards on that punt. He averaged last year 39, kind of pushed into a role that he didn't expect to be in early in his career.
Definitely has the leg strength, but just like you said, Larry, just consistency, coming out and really being really particular with his work, his steps. It's a lot of work that actually goes into punting, and he's young, so I know he'll come around and he'll get that consistency down.
Just been a great afternoon here, and surprising as we have 2 minutes and 50 seconds to go here in the third as we head to the fourth. Still just a packed Memorial Stadium here in Lincoln. Back out for another series comes Patrick O'Brien, the redshirt freshman. San Juan Hills High School, San Juan Capistrano, California. Out of the backfield. That's a good move. Still on his feet. Nice run there by Mazur. So you've seen Wyatt Mazur get a look with the white team and play very well. And here he is again, switching jerseys and now on the red team.
We've seen some elusiveness from him today.
Absolutely. Wyatt making an argument here early in his career for some playing time. Saw Wyatt Mazur here in Memorial Stadium back in his senior year, playing for a state championship. Just had a terrific high school career. As that ball's batted down. Colonel Jefferson got a hand on that one. So what do you think Bob Diaco thinks of today?
You know, I think in the red zone, he's looking for the team to be a little bit more stout, a little bit more strong in the red zone, because those are the times where you have to really dig down deep. You're tired. It's been a long drive. These quarterbacks have done a good job of commanding their offenses down the field, but you like to see a little bit more will in the red zone. But then again, he's not running the defense that he will be running this season, so I know he has that in the back of his mind. But as in the competitor in him, that I can sense he wants his team to be a little bit more strong-willed in the red zone.
Timeout here on the field as we tick down. Well, here's today's BTN Standout, presented by Auto Owners Insurance. How about Luke Gifford sticking that big right paw out there, didn't have the left to use, and comes up with the interception. One of two turnovers for Luke Gifford on the day. He forced the fumble earlier and then comes up with that interception. A Lincoln Southeast product, and that hand all
third quarter.
Casted up. And out there.
Into the third quarter, timeout on the field.
In a spring game, to throw the cast on there and say, we're going to play, right? We are at the Nebraska spring game here in Lincoln, 34-7 as we head to the fourth. Back here in Lincoln, Nebraska. Home of the Huskers and a terrific Saturday afternoon of football. Let's go down to the field to Damon Benning.
Coach, it's a lot to analyze on the fly. I won't ask you to go micro for me, but how do you feel about the macro just based on the first watch?
From what I've seen, I've really liked it. You know, there's been some efficiency with the quarterbacks making plays. There's been some good running. It's kind of looked like a good give and take in football. Fairly efficient look. We just can't let it disintegrate now. We just got to have a good fourth quarter.
All right, with your top look defensively, playing something they ordinarily wouldn't play, how do you assess performance on the fly?
Oh, you know, we're just going to look at individual plays because they're still getting off blocks and tackling. That's real important to whatever you're playing football-wise. This is a vanilla day, and that's the way we wanted it to be.
All right, so before we get into adding like toppings like sprinkles and syrup, what do you know that you want to go back and revisit immediately the first time through?
Well, you know, I think very, very for sure. You saw us 2 times have a couple nice drives and then fail in the red zone. So we're going to look at that package and make sure that we get a little bit sharper on that as we go into fall camp. But the rest of it, we'll just take it piece by piece, more so individually what we can do.
Sounds good, Coach. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Good to have you guys.
Thanks.
Thanks, David, and thanks to Coach Riley for joining us here as we start quarter number 4. Wyatt Mazur still in the backfield along with O'Brien. Pulls it out of the belly of Mazur, looks for him in the flat. Up top has a man. Good catch. Nice pull in there by Kean Williams. Just a bit behind him, but he sat on that, made the play.
O'Brien seems to have a really strong arm. Really impressed with him today, as well as all the quarterbacks. So O'Brien, in my opinion, stood out the most.
Yeah. And here's Mazur. One of the most dynamic playmakers in the state his junior and senior years out of Boone Central High School here in Nebraska. He was a quarterback, threw for better than 1,800 yards and 25 touchdowns. He rushed for 1,600, a total of 3,000 plus yards in 1 year.
Those are some stats right there.
I'll tell you, he had opportunities to go to several other schools that wanted him to play running back, and he was content and had his heart set on coming here and walking on. And it's those kind of walk-ons in the state with guys like Reimers. If we could go up and down the lineup and pick out 3 or 4 guys as Mazur gets in there for a touchdown.
It's special. It definitely was special for us. Having guys like Spencer Long come walking on now, he's an NFL starter. So it just goes to show you with diligence and hard work, man, you can earn that scholarship. And guys like Mazur, he's proven that today.
He's shown some shiftiness, no doubt. Wyatt Mazur in there for the touchdown. An opportunity to play in 1 game last year against Wyoming. This is sophomore year. He redshirted his first year here on campus. Had an opportunity to play last year. He's had a good spring game here today for both the white and the red teams. He's had a look on both sides of the ball. (41-7) Red done a nice job moving the ball today here behind the strength of a couple of outstanding quarterbacks in Tanner Lee and Patrick O'Brien. The commitment that Coach Langsdorf and Coach Riley have made to giving both quarterbacks equal opportunity throughout the spring, switching up who starts with the number 1s and who takes the first series. Each practice, each scrimmage has really benefited both.
Like to start this drive, they're on 25, first and 10.
Former Husker rush in right there. Thomas, boy, he was a beast back in his day.
Still looks like it.
Yes, he does. He's one of those defensive ends who loved to get after the quarterback. You know what his deal always was? He would always say he was going to get crunk. Crazy, ruthless, nasty, ubiquitous.
You know, I never knew that was an acronym until today.
Well, I think he made it an acronym.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it was. He made it an acronym. Living in San Antonio now, originally out of California. Husker fans will certainly remember him. Yeah. Obviously, he's back for the Dream Foundation, which is also put on by a former Husker.
Got Adam Taylor in there. He's a guy that's been around a little bit, played a little football.
Yeah, you remember Adam Taylor. He was on the team when you were, right?
Definitely. He's a workout warrior. He's a guy in the weight room you don't want to lift next to.
Yeah. Former Nebraska running back right there, Sims. It's like he can still tote it a little bit, huh?
These guys are in good shape, man. It's making me a little insecure about myself.
He had some terrific spring games. Here we are in the 4th quarter. Jebbia back in there at quarterback for the white squad. Out into the flat. Catch and carry there by Adam Taylor. Taylor in his senior year here at Nebraska. I believe at one point was Adam Taylor named the Scout Team Offensive Player of the Year.
It wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me. Very hardworking guy. Very, very studious guy, too, as well. He's an engineer major. He's a guy who has a very bright future for himself, no matter where he goes.
In the middle of that red team defensive line. Jacob Weinmaster there leading the way. Dyshawn Neal was underneath it all. So no gain there on 4th down, and I believe that will turn it over to the red team. See if we get another look at Tanner Lee, maybe for the final time today. And we do. We started to tell you earlier about the recruiting story of Tanner Lee. Billy Devaney, who's the director of player personnel for Nebraska now, is good friends with Archie Manning, and Archie Manning would run a camp, down in his hometown every year, taking a look at some of the top college quarterbacks as that is nearly picked off on at the time, Billy Devaney was with the Atlanta Falcons, and he would talk to Archie after Archie's camp to kind of see, what players look good, who to look out for, kind of give him a heads up on where they should be looking from a draft perspective. And one year, Billy, I think, said, there's a good look at Billy Devaney who's down there. Billy said, you got to take a look at this kid named Goff, who's a starting quarterback in California. And so Archie hadn't heard about him. They brought Goff in. And after that camp, Archie called Billy Devaney and said, hey, your boy Goff, he can really throw that ball around, but the kid you want to look for, he's just a sophomore down in Tulane, and his name's Tanner Lee. Wow. Outstanding quarterback, great arm, good decision making. Said some really, Archie Manning said some really great stuff to Billy Devaney about Tanner Lee. So fast forward the next year, the head coach at Tulane is fired. I think it was Chris Johnson who was fired at the time. Brought in a quarterback, Willie Fritz, who kind of runs his own brand of option football. Tanner Lee didn't think that was a fit, so he reached out to Archie. He said, hey, Archie, who should I look at? Who should I go play for? Well, Archie knew Chris Mortensen at ESPN, and Chris said, hey, if I had a kid who was going to play quarterback in college, I would send him to go play for Mike Riley. So the Tanner Lee family reached out to Mike Riley, and here he is a couple years later. Damon, I believe, with another quarterback on the sideline. Damon.
Patrick, I know you're not going to become enamored with stats. You understand what your role is, but how would you assess your day outside of just the numbers?
I feel like we executed well as an offense. We did what we needed to do, and on all aspects, receivers, line, running backs, quarterbacks, we did everything we needed to do, and it's pretty obvious by the score that we did a good job today.
Yeah, I would give you guys a 9 or 10 for chemistry. You just watched Tanner Lee drop one in the bucket. You get a wild, nice throw as a guy that's competing with and against him at the same time. Pretty cool that you guys spur one another on.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, we're good friends, and obviously we both want to see each other do well, so it kind of creates good competition between us. I mean, I see him throw a good throw, I want to throw a good throw, and I feel he probably feels the same way, so it's a healthy relationship, I think.
It's interesting in talking to Coach Langsdorf all spring. He describes you as a group as kind of gym rats, where you're always trying to absorb more, you're staying extra, you're watching a ton of film. How would you describe your change in your game from year 1 to year 2?
I mean, just football knowledge. College, I mean, you have to be way more aware of your surroundings on the field, and just studying the film, studying our playbook, it's really made it easier on me. If I know what I have to do, then it makes it easy for me. I just got to know what the defense is running. So just staying in there, watching film every day, it's good to kind of get that work in.
In an obvious team game, what would you like to work on individually to better help your team?
I mean, there's always stuff to correct, my footwork, accuracy, everything. I mean, there's always room to get better, so I'm just going to try to work on all aspects of my game and just keep improving every day.
Should be a heck of a race. Been fun to watch. That's Patrick O'Brien, guys. One of the consummate good teammates as he's rooting on another competitor, but knowing they both don that block in.
Yeah, thanks, David. It's been a great day for Patrick O'Brien as well as Tanner Lee. Here's the day for O'Brien. 6 of 10, 76 yards. The check down there to Ozigbo. Strike across the middle. Here's what you like, the little roll to the left. They were able to throw across his body.
It's impressive.
Yeah,
it's impressive.
A good day for the freshman Patrick O'Brien. 6'4", 230, great size, understands the game, good arm.
I like how relaxed he is behind the line, in the pocket. Yeah. He doesn't seem like he's ever tight in any press situation. Feels like he can fit in any seam, any hole, and that's what you want out of a quarterback.
Getting our first look now here at Andrew Bunch. There's a look at Tanner Lee. He just threw a touchdown pass. One more look at it. A little check down out of the backfield, wide open. Pass for the touchdown. And there they are, O'Brien and Lee.
These running backs must be paying these quarterbacks or something today, because they're just checking it down left and right. And it's beautiful.
So what you're telling me is you're not paying Stafford enough?
He gets paid enough, man. He gets paid enough.
Well, how are you feeling? You're coming off a rehab season, a season where you missed much of the season due to injury. How's the rehab? How did the rehab go, and how are you feeling now?
Initially, it was tough. I've never missed any time playing football, so that was one battle that I went through internally, mentally, challenging myself to remain a good teammate during that time period. But once the clouds starting to clear up a little bit, the sky got more sunny for me, and I got to the end of my rehab period. I understood that it was for a reason. It's going to make me a lot better heading into the season as far as understanding that there are ups and downs, but it's never the end of the world. And I'm looking forward to getting back and just being on the football field again and giving the Detroit Lions the best opportunity to win it all.
Yeah. Still a good crowd here late in the fourth. That running clock inside 11 minutes now. Good completion. Let's go down to the field to Damon Benning.
Down here with two good ones, one on each level. Chris Webber, man in the middle here on the inside, and the other Chris. And Chris Jones, who momentarily is breaking his media hiatus. Chris, we'll start with you. Different kind of defense, right? I don't know how much fun you can have, but you love competing. So I don't care if you're playing a 4-2-5, a 3-4, a 4-3, or a 50. Chris Jones is going to be Chris Jones.
Yeah, I mean, new defense. Love to be out there, love to compete. This spring has been very productive for me. I just got better as an individual, better as a player. I've been coached very well this spring. I'm glad I actually, came back, and I worked on a lot of things that I never knew that I needed to work on, and I just got better.
Yeah, it's interesting. Stay with that here for a second. And Coach Williams, known for his recruiting prowess, I've watched him this spring. His tutelage and teaching has been outstanding, as well as a technician. You appreciate that?
I appreciate it a lot. He's very technical. We get the small details all the way down to footwork, hand placement, where to look at, hips wise. He's very technical, and it shows that those little things that you pay attention to, you never know. It can make the biggest difference. Whether or not you pick the ball off and be on your feet, or pick the ball off and fall to the ground, or be able to redirect and get to the ball faster, or come out your break even faster.
Yeah, maybe a little underappreciated, but certainly not undervalued. Chris Webber, huge spring for you, playing behind the 3-4. Those guards are uncovered. Coach Diaco sings your praises in terms of a natural-born leader. What has been the difference for you as you've kind of grown in this defense?
Yeah, I feel like I've been here a long time, and kind of grown with these guys and grown over my 4 years here. And now I'm kind of in a position to lead and it's been fun. It's been fun learning this new defense and getting out here and playing with these guys.
It's funny to hear you joke with Chris off air about, hey, you're going to tell him how I beat you in a drill. You guys are highly competitive. All these drills I watch in the spring, it's about winning and maximizing. You think that's had the trickle-down effect yet?
Absolutely. I mean, anytime you're competing, you're competing to win, and that's what football is. It's all about competition. Everything that we do in every drill, we're competing, and that's going to show out on the field.
The body types have changed. Obviously, the style of play has changed. Do you like the direction in which the defense is moving?
I love it.
Man, a few words. Awful good at what they do, though, folks.
All right, thanks, David. Appreciate it. Those are two guys that I know Coach Diaco has had a lot of positive things to say about, especially Chris Webber. He just said he's been outstanding in understanding what they do and his willingness to change and being a leader. And when you look at that short side, inside linebacker in that 3-4 system, he really believes that Chris Webber is just going to excel in that spot. And I know, Damon, you've watched a lot of practice and you've liked what you've seen out of those linebackers in this 3-4. There's Tanner Lee with Mike Riley. (13 of 19 on the day for Tanner Lee, 190 through the air, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and a passer rating above 200. Carry for about 9 yards. There's Tanner Lee, our Marine Corps leader of the game. Again, his numbers: 13 of 19, 190 to 201, and 3 touchdowns. You see Damon's right there with him.
I've got one of our Marine Corps leader of the day, Tanner Lee, enjoying a nice day with his efficiency and leadership. It's like I talked to Patrick about. You guys aren't going to be enamored with stats in a game like this. What are some of your takeaways?
I think you just want to be efficient, like you said, and lead the offense up and down the field and make it look good, make it look how it's supposed to look. And I think we did that today, and I was impressed with how both sides of the balls reacted today.
Yeah, for a guy that's not used to kind of this stage, you handle it awful well, almost a natural.
I feel like I've played a lot of football, and then it's all the same between the white lines, and we had a lot of fun today. Yeah.
It's got to be fun to have these two guys next to you as you're flanked by DPE and Stanley Morgan. As you evolve in this offense, how much fun has it been to play with some new toys?
You can't beat it. You got guys like this on the outside. It's a nice security blanket. It makes my job easy, and it's a lot of fun when you can we can put up some points and some good stats with these guys. So it'll be a lot of fun.
You're obviously fairly popular, right? This is the first interview that we've done that's got this kind of feedback from the masses. You feel like you fit right in with these guys in year 2, obviously.
I've been knowing Stan for a while now. He's a weird guy, but I've been getting along with these guys really well and been enjoying myself. Yeah.
All right, before we let you go, what would you like? How would you like the offense to move on before you get ready for fall camp?
I think we got to continue to get better every day. We're not where we want to be right now when that first game rolls around, so we want to continue to strive towards that first game and make sure that we're 100% on that day.
Hey, if nothing else, he's cool under pressure. All right.
Thanks, David. Stanley Morgan Jr. was giving it to him, huh? Cool. It's good stuff along the sideline there.
It's good to see that.
Yeah, did you see Patrick O'Brien even jump in there late?
It's good to see the guys have fun with each other. They're really enjoying themselves out there. And that's what it's really about. Building that camaraderie with your team, understanding that it's been a long spring. You guys have come a long way. And finally, you guys put on a good show at the spring game, and you guys can head into the summer with a good leg up on things.
So Jebbia in there now wearing the red jersey with the red team. Whistle blown dead. Jebbia touched up by the white.
You can tell that kid's just a competitor.
Yeah.
Switching jerseys, still back there, staying patient, just letting it rip all day.
2nd down and 12 now. There's the other guy who's been impressive today, Tanner Lee. So a lot of work, Amir, from now until fall camp, you know, as you think back to your days at Nebraska and kind of how you, after this game, started to prepare and get ready for fall. Kind of walk us through what's the next step now? When do these guys get back together and start prepping for fall?
Well, after this spring game, these guys will take a little break here, a little intermission, and they'll probably reconvene early June, where they start conditioning and strength conditioning as well. And the most important thing throughout those times is just everyone getting on the same page of what the goal will be heading into the season. Can have guys wanting individual, calculations and things like that. You got to have guys all understanding it takes all 11 on defense and offense with the same common goal, and that's built all the way through the summer with the run sessions, lifting together. That all comes together in late August, where they play their first game, and it comes out and show. And that's what you got to build in the summer. So that's what these guys have ahead of them. And I know these guys have good leaders like Tanner Lee, Patrick O'Brien there to establish that kind of era for this team. And I'm excited to see where this team is headed, because I'm impressed with them offensively today, defensively under Diaco, where they could be headed. And they got a lot in front of them that they can prove this upcoming season.
Reimers with the completion there. That's good for a first down. A first look at Brian Reimers, who certainly has an opportunity in the fall to contribute to that terrific wideout crew. Former walk-on guy, Jebbia whips it across the middle, pulled back in on a nice grab.
I tell you,
by J.D. Spielman got it again, and Jebbia can sling it.
I know he's redshirting this fall, but I know the first defenses, they're going to have their hands full every day in practice. They're not going to like this kid very much.
That's a terrific point, Amir. Having Jebbia be your scout team quarterback when you're prepping, that's going to do the defense. I mean,
definitely, it's the best thing.
Tremendous benefit.
Yeah, a guy who can thread the needle, who's only a freshman. You're going to be going against him every day in practice. I know DBs like Kalu, Aaron Williams, Eric Lee, Chris Jones, they need that work. So to have someone to push them like that every day, that's good for them.
He's out there leading the way, barking out the call as they come in from the sideline. Looks like he's jumped into a bit of a 2-minute drill here with 2:30 to go. Pass in the backfield along with Jebbia. A couple of nice balls to his tight ends. And now he'll go to the corner. They gave up on the route a little bit there. Connor Young let up. Jebbia looked like he had it in the right spot. Jebbia trying to get into the end zone.
Talking to the coaches yesterday, they said 2 minutes. He's really comfortable in this kind of setting. Can drive the team down even in this youth, man. He's a guy who can really stay poised and deliver.
Tipped down right at the line of scrimmage. There's Evans, got a hand on it.
Timeout. Red team, the first.
Left hand got up there. Here's a look at Eric Evans. The defensive lineman got that left hand up, knocked it down, 1:34 to go. Red team will take a timeout on 4th down and 3, trying to put it in. So what's coming up in the fall for these Cornhuskers? Take a look at good home schedule for Nebraska. They'll go to Oregon. That'll be a tough trip early on in the non-conference, and then you open up the conference and look at that stretch when they have Wisconsin and Ohio State back-to-back at home. Much of the season will lean and ride on with the results of those games on October 7th and 14th. Then, of course, Iowa will be in here. They have trips this year to Illinois, Purdue, Minnesota, and they head to Penn State.
I think that Northwestern game will be interesting to watch come time, because Northwestern has they have a very experienced team coming back. Yeah. A team with a lot of guys playing a lot of football. So depending on where Nebraska is at that point, that could be a very pivotal game for the Big Ten West.
So 4th down and 3 here for Jebbia. He's got a man out of the backfield. Found Haas. Hit the corner of the end zone for the touchdown.
Little back shoulder.
Yeah. And Jebbia leads the red team down the field and into the end zone. Good day for this Nebraska offense. 54 on the board for the red team.
Please reset the game.
Always good to get in the end zone, whether it's a spring game or not.
1-2-7. Thank you.
That's 2 touchdowns for Haas today.
That's right. So Drew Brown in there trying to keep it perfect on the day. He's knocked through 2 field goals and now perfect on extra points as well. Boy, you talk about a tremendous benefit to have a field goal kicker like Drew Brown. He's been solid
He's a
last
guy.
couple of years.
Yeah, he's a guy I've seen improve with each and every year.
Absolutely, yeah.
He's definitely a hard worker as well.
He learned a thing or two from his older brother. Had a good stint in the NFL.
It's not bad company.
Not at all. So it looks like we'll get one final series here with 1:27 out of this white squad. And out there for the white offense to lead the way is Andrew Bunch. So Bunch, the 4th quarterback, and you just heard the official announce that this will be a regular timed final 2 minutes. So they'll put 2 minutes on the clock. Do some situational work here for Andrew Bunch. Bunch, a sophomore out of Thompson Station, Tennessee. Played at Scottsdale Community College. He's a community college transfer for Nebraska. Not sure if he got a hand on that or not, but the pass looked to be online, but tipped away at the last minute by Weinmaster. Just a bit of a hand on it, maybe enough to
Sometimes that's
lose
all
the
it takes.
concentration.
Sometimes that's all it takes.
That's right. Holstein couldn't hang on. In the middle again, found him this time. Good for an 18-yard gain. And the completion to Ty Chafin.
Shot at Mikhail Wilbon there.
There's your guy, right?
Doing this thing.
I think Mikhail's going to be a big part of the offense come the fall. Both he and Trey Bryant will see plenty of opportunity, although we've seen some great play all afternoon from several Nebraska backs.
Very consistent play out of the backs today.
Rose was terrific early.
Austin Rose. It's just so much depth. I'm so much more confident after watching today as before heading into this game as it was for this backfield. These guys have really shown today that they can all carry the load and they can all complement each other really well.
Two-hand touch on the quarterback. So Cedric King will get credit for the sack.
They're first.
And a quick timeout called with 1:06 to go. Boaz Joseph, he's hoping to contribute here in the fall to that defensive backfield. Talk about the movement. You know, we mentioned it momentarily, but the switch, you know, from cornerback to safety, which allowed Jackson to get in the field and Kalu now to play safety. How much that strengthens that back end for Nebraska defensively?
It just allows them to be so much more flexible. You saw a little bit early today, Kalu coming from the safety spot, walking up on the slot. It allows, like you said, Lamar Jackson to come out and play that outside corner opposite of Christian Jones. And it just brings a lot more guys up that they would like to get, you know, more playing time, like Eric Lee. Guys who are becoming more and more comfortable. There's Eric Lee right there on the covers right there. Comfortable playing now. And moving Kalu back to safety was, I think, a very good move for this defense, Diaco and his staff, and you can definitely see the versatility and diversity it gives this backfield.
Fourth down now with 1:01 to go. Bunch not touched, steps up in the pocket, has room, and that'll be enough for a first down. I thought initially he might have been touched in the backfield, but good job by Andrew Bunch to pick up the first down.
Oh, yeah, get out of there.
You bet. Gain down to the 34-yard line. 52 to go here in this annual red-white scrimmage. Nice grab. Pulled in there by the former quarterback. Came on campus to be a quarterback. Zach Darlington transitioned to wide receiver. See him at the top of the screen now. Along with Todd Honus. Complete there to Sean Lambert. Lone dead before it got out. White trying to drive down the field here late. Third year for Mike Riley, upcoming. Rough first year. Thought like maybe he didn't adapt well enough to the strengths of his quarterback. Tommy Armstrong did a much better job in year number 2. Won some tight games, although he was very candid yesterday in the conversations. You know, 9th in the Big Ten in offense, not very productive. He said, we just weren't good enough last year offensively. They really won games because many times they won the turnover battle. And they had a terrific plus turnover ratio, which led to some wins. But in the conversation yesterday, he was candid about they just have to be much better, and pointed to the offense and efficiency and the need to be better this year. Kind of your takeaway as well in the conversation?
Absolutely. Speaking to Coach Riley, you can tell he has high standards for this team. With the coaching staff he's put around himself, and the players that he recruited, that finally starting to see the field a little bit more. He feels like they can do some special things offensively, much like he did at Oregon State at his time there. And you can kind of see that today. The offense was really efficient. They did a lot of good things in the run game, so hopefully that continues this coming fall.
Plenty still here for the end of it, as that's the wrap for the annual red-white scrimmage. 55 points put on the board by the red team. A very efficient afternoon for Nebraska's quarterbacks. Rushing attack solid, led by Devine Zigbo with 49 yards, but up and down the roster. We have Trey Bryant with 36 yards rushing. Wyatt Mazur, 29, 27 for Rose. And Bob Diaco's defense will continue to get better as fall draws near. Very vanilla defensive scheme today, but they look very good offensively.
Now the breeze comes.
We'll be back to wrap it up from here in Lincoln from the annual red-white scrimmage.